this short video, we're going to take a look at licensing Microsoft Teams. My name is Vicky Lee, a Microsoft licensing expert, and I'll be taking you through this session today. Traditionally, Teams has always been available as part of certain Office 365 and Microsoft 365 user subscription licenses, as well as being available as a standalone USL. And you can see some of those licenses listed on this slide. However, the European Commission have opened a formal investigation regarding Microsoft's bundling of Teams with the Microsoft 365 and Office 365 suites. So Microsoft have made some changes to alleviate these concerns, which affects customers in the European Economic Area and Switzerland. Existing customers who have previously purchased Office 365 E1, E3 or E5 or Microsoft 365 E3 and E5 have a license that includes Teams, what we're referring to as the original SKUs with Teams rights. From October 2023, we're going to see a change for certain licenses with new EEA SKUs that do not include Teams. Now here we can see that those existing customers can carry on with their original SKUs, including Teams rights, if they do want to carry on being licensed for Teams. Otherwise, they will be able to renew to the without Teams SKUs. New customers, depending upon what they're purchasing, may only have the rights to buy without Teams. If they then want to use Teams as well, they will need to add a standalone Teams license to have access to that service. And there is a very useful FAQ linked to on this slide if you need to know any more about this. Teams is a product that consists of a number of features. Some of them are included with the Teams license and some are available as add-ons to Teams. So let's start with the main Teams elements represented by this box. Now in Teams, users can chat, and you can see here a short chat that I'm having with a colleague. The next element in Teams is meetings, and the first type of meeting is a regular Teams meeting, which can include audio, video and screen sharing for up to 1,000 people. People just click on the link to join the meeting. But then there is an alternative, which is the live event, and this is an extension of the Teams meeting that enables you to schedule and produce events that stream to large online audiences, currently up to 20,000 people. So if you need a meeting for more than 1,000 people, you would use a live event. And then finally, we have calling. And here you can see that you don't dial a number to call a person in Teams. You just type in or click on their name and initiate a voice call with optional video. And then there are other elements that can be added to Teams to extend its functionality. And we are going to look at how they're all licensed shortly. But first of all, it is possible to extend the meetings element of Teams via audio conferencing. An audio conferencing license gives a meeting organizer the flexibility of creating a Teams meeting with real telephone numbers that users can use to dial in. And these can be tolled or toll-free numbers, as well as having the ability to dial out to attendees to join them to the call. And then we have the extensions to callings. So we have Teams Phone, which is a cloud phone system adding call handling to a business. And organizations can then add a calling plan for a user, giving them a phone number to receive calls and make outbound calls. And then the final part of the story is handling any overage. This is the mechanism that supports additional charges to the solution that we've talked about. So we need to think here about how we're going to support the payment for the toll-free numbers and how additional minutes used beyond those included in a calling plan are paid for. So let's take a moment to look at some of these extras in a little more detail. So audio conferencing allows meeting attendees to dial into the audio element of a meeting from their phone rather than accessing the audio via the Teams app. With audio conferencing, a dial-in number is provided for the attendee to use if required. So this can be a tolled number where the attendee will pay for the call, or alternatively toll-free numbers can be provided. But do note that the toll-free numbers are only available in certain countries or regions. To enable audio conferencing for the eligible licenses listed on this slide, there is a $0 SKU that needs to be transacted for the users who are scheduling or leading calls with audio conferencing in them. The $0 SKU includes unlimited tolled dial-in calls, but there will be an extra charge if a toll-free dial-in number is provided. Then we have the extra options relating to the calling side of Teams. Now, we've already mentioned that included in Teams, we have the ability to call colleagues through the Teams app. However, what happens if we want a cloud-based phone system with the ability to have advanced call handling features and connection to a PSTN? This is where Teams Phone comes in. So Teams Phone enables users to make calls to and receive and transfer calls from phones, mobiles, tablets and PCs using their underlying service provider from nearly anywhere with internet access. So first of all, we have Teams Phone Standard, and this is just a license for a cloud-based phone system where you would bring your own calling plan working with a third-party provider. And then we have Teams Phone with calling plan, and this is where you have a license for the cloud-based phone system as well as a quantity of calling minutes, all from Microsoft. There are different calling plans available based on where you're located in the world and whether you want to make domestic or international calls. You'll see that the countries are broadly split into 2 zones, and this will have an impact on the number of minutes included in the calling plan. The calling plans fall into 3 categories, with the ability to have a plan that includes just domestic calls, one that includes domestic and international calls, and finally there is also a pay-as-you-go option. All of these licenses can be sold to any customer whose country location is an audio conferencing sell-to country, and then the exact license purchased will depend on the location of the end user. We can see here the countries that are included in the different zones. The main difference between the zones being the number of domestic calling minutes included in the calling plan, with Zone 1 countries receiving a default of 3,000 domestic calling minutes and Zone 2 countries getting 1,200 domestic calling minutes. These minutes are pooled per country or region and per plan on a monthly basis. So with a calling plan, you receive a quantity of domestic calling minutes per month that are pooled at tenant level. But what happens though if you run out of these minutes or you want to make international calls with a domestic plan? And this is where the overage handling comes in. There are different ways of handling calling plan overage. However, the way to manage it with NCE is via an Azure subscription. Here you associate an Azure plan subscription with your calling plan. This then turns on the ability for there to be overage, and any overage incurred for phone services for the customer tenant will be charged to this subscription, regardless of which partner or channel the phone service has been purchased through. Finally, we have the pay-as-you-go offers. Now here we have calling plans that don't include a fixed number of minutes. Rather, you pay a nominal amount for the license, and then minutes used are charged against the nominated Azure subscription as they are consumed. This option is only available to customers in the audio conferencing sell-to countries, with the exception of the US and Puerto Rico-based customers. Now you buy the calling plan pay-as-you-go license based on the location of the user that the license is going to be assigned to. And in terms of prerequisites, those users need to be licensed with a Teams Phone license, either the standalone one or as part of Office 365 E5 or Microsoft 365 E5. That concludes this short video. Thank you very much for watching. If you require any more information around Microsoft Teams, please do contact TD SYNNEX.